Good afternoon, everyone. Tuesdays. I was about to say Monday, Frankie, but no, it's Tuesday. Although
Tuesday,
yesterday was a non-working day.
I always expect a game to be at the end of that intro. The intro builds me up, and I feel like I'm sitting in the stadium just before the kickoff, and then I expect bubbles to come on, and then a game to start, mate. It gets me all excited.
Yeah, I might do. Yeah, I might do that. Yeah,
gets me all excited. It does.
Might do. Yeah. Did you have a good day? I think you're going to do a few things with a little one, weren't you?
Yeah, it was all right, mate. Went over the park, had a kickabout. He can pass over about 20 yards better than I can. my passes are going off here, there, and everywhere, and he's as straight as a die to my feet. So, yeah, he's got a bit about him, mate. He's definitely got a bit about him.
Yeah, I did a few things around the house. The wife and the daughter were glued to the TV. Then I kind of joined in, and yeah, very interesting. Long day watching it. A few people from my road walked up there. We didn't actually go into town at the end. I think even if we left, yeah, we would have been at the back roughly. But yeah, quite. Yeah, watched a lot of that yesterday, and then yeah, back to normal working day today. And yeah, a couple of great shows we done over the weekend. The views are there, mate. Absolutely smashing it. So thanks to all the viewers who like listening to us, all the kind of things we come out with, mate, and your help, and brought one or two new people on board over the weekend. Yeah, it was all good. So yeah, the show, and I think Frankie knew this anyway. So it's a couple of things we've read, we've heard. I think the rumours started yesterday evening and then a bit more today. And one of the sites is Clara and Hugh, who, yeah, Sean Whetstone does a podcast, which, yeah, I haven't had time to listen to it recently. Always used to. Found it quite interesting. He's got quite contacts into the board. Used to be quite close to Karen at one point. Then I think the relationship turned a bit sour. I don't know why. And they've obviously spoken to someone inside the club. And what we're hearing today is absolutely not even 1% chance that the board or anyone has considered even removing or even talking to him about anything, David Moyes. So as we understand it, Frankie, there's no chance of him going even this season, mate, at the moment. There's no chance. There's no danger of that. There's no set targets. They're not obviously looking at the 3 points. They're not looking at the 1 or 2 week break or the World Cup November break. And they're not looking at, obviously, what's happening at the moment with the current players and obviously the new players coming in, mate. So are you surprised, not surprised, or what do you think, mate, on that?
No, I can't say I'm surprised. I think that's fairly obvious. I thought that would be the case, but it's all right saying that now. But I think things will be very, very different if in the next 2 games we don't get that 4 points that we sort of suggested that he'll be targeted to achieve. They will have sat down, mate. There's no question they won't have sat down. Whether or not they've gone out there and started lining managers up yet, I'm not too sure. It would be typical West Ham to not be prepared and not be early and think about who would we replace him if this does keep going the way it's going. Would be same old West Ham, do a late reactionary sacking and a desperate attempt to sign a manager and not get someone who's half decent. We get what's left over, and that's just typical West Ham, isn't it, mate? So yeah, wouldn't surprise me, but I do feel like if they had any sense about them, they would seriously be looking at this and thinking, you know, if this carries on, we are going to have to make a decision, and if we are going to have to make a decision, we're better off being prepared and lining somebody up. So
yeah, I know on Twitter and a lot of focus on, if you look at the last 14 games, and I think the 2 wins, I think, are Norwich and Villa, and then defeats to Everton, who, yeah, that was their first win of the season. Forest, you've seen what Forest are all about, what I actually thought they were, which is, yeah, not very good. And it's just terrible. And I was thinking it's that bad. Like I said, even Declan. I mean, what do you think about Declan recently? Like, what do you think he's been like playing? Like, you think recently? He's
not been good, but then nobody's been good. It's hard to look good in a team that's playing so badly. You know, it's the thing that disappoints me about Dec isn't his performances; it's what he's doing as a captain. I would have expected him to come out and his interviews are very soft. I saw replays of an incident where one of the Skamaka took out one of the Everton players And there was an altercation afterwards, and Deck was so soft in that scenario. Like Noble would have been straight in there, grabbing hold of people, just backing his players, and just that aggression, that G'ing up the team that we need right now. Declan just seems like just very soft and too, I don't know. He just isn't behaving like a captain for me at the moment. But we know that's a learning curve for him. But like we said, mate, the biggest problem we've got isn't, or the biggest worry isn't the performances. It's the fact that we don't run anymore. Our running stats are as low as low can be. We run less than any other Premier League team at the moment. That's when you always have a problem and a concern. When Man United were doing so bad, it's because they weren't running. We're now doing it. You know, that always shows that it's deeper than just performances. It's deeper than getting a system right. It's deeper than a formation. If you're not running, that should be the very minimum that you do. And unfortunately, at the moment, the players ain't running for Moyes. So it's an issue.
I saw a bit of that in pre-season. I was just like, God, there's nothing going on at all. And I can't even think one player's playing well. It's that bad. All the new people that have gone in, up and down. And I know you interestingly mentioned, and I agree with you, that Kera has perhaps been boosted up above what he's actually really doing. And when you look at it, there's a mistake in him. And if that's what they're happy with at the moment, that shows what the bar's at, which is fairly low. I can't think of anything. I mean, usually you have one or two that will pull you through if they can. And obviously it's quite obvious and to look at now. There's no leaders on the pitch, you know. No. All right, Costa's joined Wolves, but if you're in a war, you want someone like that. I know there's not many like that, but that should have been perhaps the remit of the window. Let's try to get a leader in there, 29, 28, 30, who got something about them, can lead people in the dressing room. Obviously, you don't want everyone that age coming through, but you need one or two around that. Not saying 36, 37, 35, but someone around 29, 30 in their peak. I mean, Liverpool, you saw that fight between Van Dijk and Milner, didn't you? The way Milner's a bit of a leader, and he's like had a go at him saying, didn't care who he was, or just said it the way it was,
There's also that clip of Rice when Souček has an opportunity to run forward with the ball, turns and plays a really poor pass to the defence. And Declan Rice sort of throws his hands up in the air. And that attitude is like a child. That's like a spoiled little kid. Do you know what I mean? That's what that does. What Rice needs to do in that case is scream at Souček and tell him what he should be doing. Don't throw your arms up in air like a little baby, chucking your toys out your pram, having a little paddy. What you need to do is turn around to Souček and say, get that ball. When you've got that space in front of you, run into the space, play a forward pass, come on, and G him up and say, come on, you're better than that. This is what I need you to be doing. That's what a captain is there to do, is to lead, not to go, and just that's no good to anybody, mate.
I think when we know we're not gonna win the last 2-3 games, the ones coming up, that's usually a telltale. I think you perhaps mentioned Everton. You had a feeling I don't think anything's going to happen in that game, even though they haven't looked too clever themselves. And going back to Vinay in the chat, Moyes, just stay for now, mate. But the worrying, I thought at least I would hear that there's some kind of timeline to review the situation in terms of, let's see how the 6 games go, 5 games go, 3 games go. But what we're hearing is that there's a stubborn, absolutely no chance even thinking about it. And then some kind of websites is no matter what. I mean, what does that mean, no matter what? I mean, there's got to be, we're on that nice little downward trend decline. And if we act too late, I haven't seen many managers in history turn it around. It's difficult when you're going down it. It's just one of those things that can get any worse. Yet there's no one. I mean, Nolan, what do you think Nolan's role is in around the ground? Does he really have any say in tactics or anything like that? Or
I don't think so, mate. He seems to be involved in transfers. He seems to be there as more of a cultural fit. Seems to be there as more of a management person, someone they turn to instead of Moyes. So I don't think he's involved. The one that I'm surprised never ever gets mentioned, and one that never ever has sort of been thrown into the mix with comments and so on. And it might be because with the way he is with a ball, he would never, ever even dream of taking the job. But the man who's been around us so much and been pivotal to our success, and over the last, I hate using that word, why did you use that word? Better performances over the last couple of seasons. And now we're on the decline now he's gone, is Stuart Pearce. You know, I'm very surprised that people didn't see him as somebody who would maybe take the reins and have more character than David Moyes, and have more, I don't know, character to G up the team and get better performances out of him. I'm not saying he'd be the right man for the job at all, but I'm just saying I'm quite surprised no one's thrown his sort of name into the mix at any point.
I think the issue is that he's had altercations with the board before, and they weren't going to bring him. I think they said no to Moyes at the beginning.
They did, that's right.
And then Moyes did half okay, then they kind of began to.
Well, if you remember, he didn't. Yeah. They didn't give him any money to spend in that window, but they let him have Stuart Pearce back. It was almost like a trade-off. It was like, you can't have any players, but you've been going on about you want Stuart Pearce. You can have Stuart Pearce back instead. That was like the trade-off, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. And then hopefully we'll exactly find out what's going on. I think, Gatesy on our program, we can mention the getting married, the distance, but I mean, I don't know exactly where in London he's from. Obviously, the way he speaks, he's a bit of a Cockney and stuff like that. I remember him very young. He played for Coventry before Forest and that kind of thing. And Nottingham, it's not. You can manage it somehow if you come in there every other day. I don't know if he's really needed in the training ground every single day. Captain Marvel, hope you're okay. No chance.
I've never heard of this sort of thing, mate, as well. We have all these people who have been leaving due to family reasons. And then you've got Dawson, who says he lives too far away from home. Now you've got Stuart Pearce, who says the travelling's too much. Well, I don't hear any other people complain. We've got people who fly over from Argentina or Australia, the other end of the world, and just get on with a job that they're paid millions to do. But our lot have started moaning they live too far away from home up the M1. I just don't get it, mate. It's just beyond me.
Yeah, you usually hear it when things are beginning to sort of not go so well. I think that's one of those things. New captain, mate. Again, there's no candidates, is it? I was asked this question.
It's not.
I don't think Rice should be captain. I know that for sure. But we don't have that person in our squad, but we need to look for one, really. But they've overlooked that fact. Again, it's up to them. Going back to Marvel, mate, do you think he can turn it around, mate, at some point?
I don't, because there's no evidence to suggest he can, mate, and that's the problem. And I know everyone's saying, you know, that Moyes can turn it around, and Moyes can do this, and Moyes can do that. At the moment, all he's doing is isolating and frustrating the new signings. You could tell Scamacca was really angry when he came on the pitch, which is battering into people. I said to you, that first game he played as well, where he was left up front on his own and he kicked out at one point, and he's just getting angry and frustrated with how things are. And then when you then ask to when you call upon them to do a job, then once you've annoyed them and wound them up, their head's already gone. Their head ain't in it no more. So, you know, it's not even like we're going to be able to call upon those guys. For me, it's too far gone, and we're still in this. Our fans are still backing Moyes, still have this opinion that it's only 7 games that is the reason why we're thinking this way, and it's just not. It's been a lot longer than that. We're talking 26 games now. It's nearly a full season's worth of games that he's now had that the form hasn't been good enough.
I think I don't know if you listened to Talk Sport this morning. They did a whole long bit on West Ham, Graham Souness and everyone, didn't they? I
listened to it with Graham Souness and what's his name? The ex-Crystal Palace. Simon Jordan. I was listening to it. I mean, you know, their sort of opinion was, you know, it's not going right. We all knew it was going to be incredibly difficult to match the last couple of seasons. So we all said before the season started that West Ham wouldn't have the same seasons they had previously. You know, they were saying the thing is, West Ham fans love to blame the board, and we like to blame the board for everything and the shortcomings at West Ham. But they've spent the money. The club has spent the money. The only finger really at the moment can be pointed at David Moyes. And they sort of half-backed him to turn it around, but I don't believe they really believe that. Their confidence weren't in that, mate. I think their opinion really is that our expectations should be about a mid-table side, to be perfectly honest. And that's what we are and what we should be happy with. And they think David Moyes will probably turn it around enough to make us a mid-table team. But I don't know. Dangerous game to play, that one, mate. Very dangerous game. Anyone who thinks that Moyes is too good to take us down is very much mistaken, mate.
Yeah, but that would be an unusual target ambition if you've spent a fair amount and then you want him to do a lot worse than the previous 2 seasons. What I can see happening next, like you said, is a bit of a touchline argument between Scamacca and Moyes. I think either he's going to bring him off early, and Scamacca's like, he's not going to hold back, he's going to go for it. And I think the international managers that represent Scamacca, Paqueta, they're beginning to get concerned, mate. I know Italy are not in the World Cup, that's fine, but it is mentioned that Scamacca's regularly in touch with Mancini, and well, Mancini's managed here a while. He knows a lot about West Ham, and he ain't going to be happy the way he's been managed. Paqueta is meant to be there in their first 11 Brazils more often than not. Are they going to be happy the way it's going for him? He's hardly touching the ball. So I don't know. It's going to be, David's going to get it from all sides, mate. I think 1 or 2 of the players you're going to see it on the pitch, mate. I think. I don't know. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that, mate. The other thing is, if David stays, mate, what do you think our January transfer budget's going to be?
It's already zero. It's already zero. It was zero once we spent the money we spent. And I think that's the thing, mate. I don't think there'll be money there to spend in January. And this is why I think what we've heard today, while I probably feel like the board are communicating that, I think it will change very, very quickly over the next couple of games should we not pick up enough points. And their investment and Kretinsky's investment that's now in the club and all of the ambitions they've got for selling that football club within the next 18 months, Premier League status is so important. And if there's any even slight risk that we're in, the bottom 15 looking over our shoulders, they'll just go, no. And it won't be give Moyes more money to spend in January. It will be see you later, Moyesy. That's what it will be. And what we need to do is start calling him Moyesy. After his silly little outburst, if Moyesy thinks that having a go at a reporter for calling him Moyesy makes him look like the boss and the manager, and that's going to turn our fortunes around, he's mistaken. This is what he does. Moyes, whenever he's up against it, he starts taking it out on the wrong people, starts bullying people and trying to act like horrible man. Horrible man, mate. And I don't like it. I don't like what he did to that reporter yesterday. That isn't going to make our fortunes turn around and make you a better manager, mate. Because at the end of the day, it was just a reporter. Everyone sort of calls you Moyesy. It was no big deal. And to behave the way Moyes did there was just immature, muggy, and just didn't look in good light to me at all, mate, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, Ruby, I hope you're doing all right. So you think Craig Dawson? I've heard he's a bit vocal in the back dressing room, but he wants to leave. He hasn't played for a while, so that's not quite going to come into it at the moment. Everyone's kind of more or less on need a new manager. I can't see Silva leaving because his journey in the Premiership for Fulham has just started. He's not going to leave Fulham. Yeah, he's up and down, but like I said, if you get 1 or 2 years out of these, mate, that's all you're going to get. So if he stayed after 2 years, 1 year, he'll start going the other way as well, mate. right. You're doing all right, mate. Yeah. The other thing is obviously, backroom staff. I mean, what is this Warburton doing? I just don't see anyone doing anything of anyone of real personality or standing, really. Everton, you've always got Daddy Duncan Ferguson in the back, haven't you? Bit of a noble character for Everton. He's always in the back and things like that. And 1 or 2 clubs have got characters like that. I don't think we got anyone, but it is what it is. Brian, that's what we're hearing, mate. And it's not really surprising the way the managers are. But the only thing now is we're nicely established in the bottom 3. And I think the next big hurdle is going to be, Frankie's, when you begin to fall 4, 5, 6 points behind safety in time. That's going to be hard, like where you need 2 wins just to catch up, team who are 4th or 5th,
can't allow
mate.
it to happen. As soon as you fall that behind, when you win, others win, and you never catch it up. As soon as you slip like that, it becomes almost impossible to get out. It's a horrible place to be. Horrible place.
Any idea why has this happened so badly in terms of none of the even his special squad, the 5 or 6 that he always plays, if he's so in love with them, they're in love with him. Why they're not doing it for him either? And
But
all the
we
new
could
people
see it. We
yeah.
could see it, mate. We could all see it last season. We had the second to oldest squad last season, and so far this season we've got the oldest average age starting lineup. We are too long in the tooth. Some of those reliable players that he's always depended upon just haven't got it no more, mate. They just haven't got the legs no more. You know, some big characters left in Noble and Pearce. There's a lot that's gone wrong and there's a lot that wasn't replaced. And everyone thought, oh, spending this 150 million was going to turn us into this well-beaten football team. It's deeper than just having a striker who never plays or this Paqueta who, you know, everyone was raving about. And for me, I thought he would be played as more of a number 10. People are telling me he's more of a number 8. He's definitely played both at times in his career. But I was reading a massive article on him. There was this guy who analysed Paqueta when he was really hyped up last season and having the best season that he'd had. And basically what he was saying was, if you look at Paqueta and his passing when he plays that number 8 role, he very rarely passes down the middle. What he's very good at is getting players off down the wing. He's really effective in a team that plays with overlapping fullbacks and wingers that he's brilliant at coming into the middle, but looking out towards the touchline, receiving the ball and then releasing wide players. That is what Paqueta is exceptionally good at. But we're not playing our winger in corner. We're playing with forwards. We're playing. So you've got this guy who's renowned for releasing wingers and getting them, you know, more attacking down the pitch and setting them off on their way. And we're not playing our winger in corner. For me, it's just a bit of madness, mate. It's just things that you just see. And, you know, it's just really frustrating because Moyes just isn't trying anything new. And if he sticks with what he is at the moment, it's only going to go one way. And that is the point, isn't it, at the moment? Something has to change.
Yeah.
Either Moyes has to change the team or the team has to change Moyes. So that's the two options. Regardless of whether you like Moyes, don't like Moyes, whatever. Something has to change. If Moyes ain't going to change the team, then the team has to change Moyes. It's as simple as that.
For me, it's too many things that are wrong. You can't change that much, and especially it's not in David's personality or nature to do that. If you can see one thing's wrong, obviously 1 or 2, then you might consider it. But it's a number of things. Mickey, yeah, I have seen that podcast. Not this, maybe not that particular interview, but I know Antonio does appear regularly on 1 or 2 ones, and I used to listen to them. But if that's what Antonio's saying, and it has been like that in a couple of games, isn't it, where you're trying to hold up for 0-0 up to the 80th minute, and then you quickly trying to bring on Cornet and people like that, mate. Well, that's a crazy way of playing, absolutely nuts. Mate, people are coming back from the holiday season. You need another one, mate. It is what it is. It's a shame because the season has literally just started, and look at the state of us. It's like, mate, honestly, you can't make it up, could you, mate? You can't make it up, mate. Do you see? Obviously, it does look like it's going to be hard for Bowen to perhaps keep his place in the squad the way it's staying at the moment. Do you see anyone challenging Rice's position in the England team, or Paqueta maybe not making it if this carries on, mate? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you know, at the end of the day, players should be picked on form and merit, mate. At the end of the day, that's how England should be. It's not. Southgate is very similar to David Moyes in his management style. He has his favourites and he only plays his favourites. That's why Southgate comes unstuck time and time again. You know, we had home advantage in that final when he bottled it. And, you know, every big game, crunch game that Southgate's come into, he's bottled it. And Moyes does the same because he just hasn't got enough character about him to do something different when it's needed, mate. Sometimes you get a crunch game. Sometimes you got to adapt. Sometimes you got to show a little bit of genius. And unfortunately, those two, they haven't got it in them, mate. They just haven't got it in them.
I know in the past sometimes Harry or 1 or 2 others have suddenly brought a new coach in when it's got tough. And I can't see David doing that. A bit too proud to do that. That's the only thing that could change it. Perhaps he got someone else back in with a strong personality, but we'll see what happens, mate. Usual suspect. Maguire got dropped, didn't he? He's not going to get back in with this manager. He doesn't play. Yeah, I'm surprised how quickly he turned it around, dropping some of the big names, isn't it, mate? But then they did spend, probably a bit more than us, I think.
You've got a super chat just come in, Jazz.
What, mate? Let's have a look. It's Captain Marvelly. Cheers, mate.
Southgate's Moyes in disguise. There you go.
I don't rate Southgate. He was a championship manager at best, mate, and that's why I rate him. And I think the squad we had for the Euros was one of the best in modern times. When he looked at all the other big nations, mate, Spain, Germany, Italy, we were far ahead of them. He only had to look at our bench, mate, the talent that was there. But he just, if he had his choice, he would have picked, I don't know if the squad's 23, he would have picked 16 defenders, Southgate, if he had a choice. It was all full of left backs, right backs, wing backs. But yeah, it's a bit like us. But yeah, we should have won that Euros by a mile due to the draw. And we had all the advantage. We were at home. We didn't leave.
And they were a poor Italy side. Look, they don't even qualify for the World Cup after that, mate. They weren't a good Italy side. They were a poor Italy side. We had everything to win that tournament, and we blew it. And, you know, I know a lot of people will say Moyes has achieved some fantastic results, and he has. There's been a few occasions, like the Seville game, Lyon, that were brilliant, the Liverpool. I get all that. There has been the odd occasion where he's pulled off a fantastic result. But when it's been to achieve something, i.e., you need to win to get Champions League football, you need to win at Brighton to get Europa League football, he's never come up trumps, mate. He's always bottled it. And, you know, we had that big home game against Frankfurt and let in a goal after a few minutes. How many times the West Ham let in a goal within a few minutes of either half, whether it be the first half or the last couple of minutes? Our game management, our getting switched on before a game, mate, is so poor. And it has been for a while, mate. It's just not good enough.
The thing I don't understand is that you get to a point where everything's looking rosy, they're fit, they're stable, they're strong, and you get a bit more money. Why don't you just carry on and play slightly better football? And why are you stubborn? Like, I don't know why they want to go backwards again. I mean, I don't know, it must be something in them, the makeup. I don't know what it is, mate. It's just weird. But yeah, for us, it's a bit of Sam Allardyce, bit of Moyes, bit of Southgate. Sean Dyche, I don't know. I'll have to see him at another club. I don't know what he's all about.
No, definitely not, mate. We don't. That's not what we need. Yeah. We need a young, forward-thinking, progressive manager who understands modern-day football and someone who can build for the future, mate. We need someone who's going to come in and put a plan together. But Captain Marvel, top man for that £2, mate. You're a legend.
Cheers, mate. Pearcey was born in Shepherd's Bush, mate. QPR land. No. Oh, mate. Yeah, I know, mate. Listen, another interesting thing is going to be how the atmosphere, plays out at every home game as we continue to do bad. Another thing Graham Souness mentioned on TalkSport, well, he didn't obviously know how much we know. He reckons the polls were showing 75% of fans want him out.
So that was the fan suggesting it was 75%, not that there was a poll that was 75%. However, I probably saw 5 or 6 polls from all different types of accounts that asked that question, and every single one of them were more Moyes out than Moyes in now. So the tide has definitely turned towards him, mate, big time.
Only in this last game. The week before it was fine still. And then we obviously mentioned it 3-4 weeks ago. And then a few of the others have followed. Mr. Mace.
Go on, mate.
He's not happy. He's not happy. It's all bollocks and words or gummage. He does need to do something about his skin, Mr. Moyes. He's a lot more wrinkles there, mate. As someone with his money, he had the whole summer to sort himself out. It's going to be hanging off his face, mate, if it goes on any more. Skamaka's dad. Oh, yeah, we did hear about Skamaka's family, didn't we, Frankie?
That's it, mate. You don't mess about that geezer.
Has Duncan left Everton? I didn't know that.
You still see him in the crowd floating about, though, didn't you? The camera always pans to him. What broke my heart, mate, is I don't know why I watched it back, but I watched some highlights of. No, it weren't even the highlights. It was when I was scrolling through Twitter and you saw Lampard going over to the fans after the game and giving it all that. And
right, I didn't. Okay.
I can't stand that man. I despise him. And seeing him getting one over on us like that, Moyes should be ashamed of himself.
Shame, yeah. Not very good Everton, mate. Would Poch or we'll see, Gary. I mean, I want a new manager in, and we'll see what happens, mate. But I can only see it getting worse. And like I mentioned to Frankie, quickly it could become that you're 3 or 4 away from safety, and that could be hard. We can't even win a game. How are we going to win 2, 3 in a row to get out? But yeah, we are always reactive, mate. So when it's too late, we'll try to bring someone in, throw a lot of money at it quickly, and then yeah, it's all over the place, mate. It's not good, mate. Not good. And it is relegation form. If you go back to Christmas, I think if you do some kind of table.
Someone did it really good. When you calculate, if we get the same amount of points from the first 7 for the rest of the season, we end on 21 points. So that you're miles away from being safe at 21 points. It's a terrible start to the season, mate. It's an awful start. Interesting
point from Peter. Have we overpaid for any of our players in the window?
Probably, mate. At the end of the day, Scamacca's credentials, he's done a bit of Italy youth and been on the fringes of the Italy squad and so on. But, he's been out to Genoa on loan. We signed him from Sassuolo. Sassuolo must have eyes lit up when we offer that sort of money for their player, mate. They've never seen money like that before. That was a huge transfer for them. To be honest, we overpay quite often in our transfers, just because of the way we do business, mate. We interviewed the guy on Souček, who was a Slavia fan, and he said he can't believe how much money we paid for Souček. He said that's like a massive transfer fee for us. He said clubs like us don't get transfer fees like that. He said it was massive, and same with Soufal. We said Soufal don't sound like a lot of money to us in the grand scheme of Premier League signings. Their fan was basically saying clubs in our league don't get those sorts of transfer fees. So, we do tend to overpay a little bit. Paqueta looks a lot of money at what we paid for him, but we saw him as our marquee signing and the man we wanted. So you pay the money, fair enough. And the thing is, if we don't overpay and we miss out on the player, then the fans still moan. So I do understand that is a catch-22 for the board. Everyone screams at them, just pay the money, just pay the money. If that's the man Moyes wants, just go and give it to him, give him the money. So in that regard, if you do overpay a bit, you can understand why, I suppose.
And the other thing is, I'm just going to assume these are all David Moyes' players.
I'm not.
No, I mean, just for the sake of just a statement. He knows he needs... I mean, who would, if you look at our squad and you look at we've got no strikers and things like that, why would you bring Scamacca in and then start acting as though he needs, 3-4 months to get warmed up and up to pace? I mean, why would you do that then? Wouldn't you get someone in that, like Mopé, who can hit the ground running and run around like an idiot if you wanted? Or it is odd, isn't it, mate? Why would you? I mean, you might as well not buy anyone until January if you're going to keep doing that. Cornet, he's got no excuse not to play him a bit more than he is. He's from our league. He played nearly a lot of games last season. And you're still using him for Europa and things like that. So it is very, very odd, mate.
But that's why I don't buy into that narrative. I can't buy into that narrative of the players need to be bedded in. That's Moyes' excuse for not trusting them and not wanting to play them. At the end of the day, like you said, Cornet's played in the Premier League. He don't need to bed in. He knows the Premier League and everything. So for me, Moyes doesn't trust these players that he's got, and they're not Moyes' signings. For whatever reason, these players, Moyes is really reluctant to play them. And it isn't for the reason that he's spouting out there, mate. Something ain't quite right, and something ain't adding up for me.
Yeah, I think there is something going on in the back room, mate. There is definitely. And like you said, if you bring in 6 and even one of those is forced upon you, a good manager will lose the plot with that. Even if you meddle a bit, some managers will not kind of be happy with that. It is weird, isn't it? Because Moyes, well, apparently he's a good old-fashioned coach and he does it all himself, hands-on. And I know Harry and people apparently Martin O'Neill's players said he only used to turn up on the Friday, but he goes in the dressing room before the game. They'll want to go to war with his speeches and all that. So everyone's a bit different. So this is what some managers used to do, isn't it? So
yeah.
But I don't think they're motivated, mate. They're a bit bored. Yeah, it's always slow, isn't it, with us, mate? Is there anything we can... Yeah, we can do shows on it, channels on it. You never know who's watching us. You never know who's watching us. Might be Sullivan with his cup of tea and biscuits, and by mistake he's come across our channel, and then you never know, mate. You never know. Again, you mentioned the formation there, mate. If you're a clever coach, you should have plenty of options, plenty of formations. And a lot of Frank used to say, same formation, doesn't matter who we're playing, when we're playing, which is, again, you should be a bit different, you know. One of the reasons you buy players who can play in one or two positions, you can move it around. But what you can't do is, stick to one formation and then play people in the wrong position as well on top of that. I think so, Ray. Hope you're doing all right. I was there for me in the window, mate. Pre-season, nothing excited to go on about on that. Terry, how you doing, sir? So you chatted to some Everton fans. Yeah, I think Everton were probably nicely surprised how bad we were, I think, at the end of it, because they've got issues there at their side. All I saw Paqueta do, mate, when he was in the middle, no one gave him the ball. And like Frankie said, he was just, when I saw him, he was trying to tackle someone, trying to win the ball back. Just didn't seem with the ball actually doing anything. And B, he didn't really have the ball much either. Make what you can of that. Smeagol, not good in any of the stats, mate, where it's a bit of running involved. There you go. Everyone's kind of same thing, isn't it? Yeah. Southgate would never get a job in the Premiership after anyway. No chance. If you're really, really clever, I know it's a bit cruel, but you could have released him at the end of the season and then given 200 to a new person right at the beginning, whole summer, whole pre-season. But that's just, I know it's easy to say that now, but we weren't happy at the end of last season, that Brighton performances and things like that. It was really poor. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you can never say never, but what he's telling us is that there's certainly no 3-game limit at the moment or anything like that. That's interesting. If he loses the next 3, that'll be really... I think the whole fan base will be totally 90-95% against him then. If we lose the next 3, mate.
You can't lose to Wolves, Fulham and Southampton, I think it is. That would be... that would definitely put them... You know, if anyone was Moyes in after that, then... Well...
Okay, Mickey, you rather stick with Moyes. Yeah, that's true, mate. I wouldn't say no to Parker to joining the coaching team, Frankie, Parker, but I know it doesn't sit well with managers to bring ex-managers in.
No, they're always then looking like they're waiting for their job. Do you know what I mean? So, not sure about that one.
Yeah. Well, I know that Nolan did manage Notts County, didn't he? And he did a half-decent job, what I remember. And then I don't know what happened at the end. So, going back to the window, do you think? I'm trying to think. Did we buy anyone from the championships? I'm trying to think. Downs came in, didn't he? And we see. I think he had a half decent game, didn't he?
Last time, game against Bucharest. He had a very, very good game. He looked comfortable on the ball. He looked comfortable under pressure. He looked good.
We go down to the championship, and I'm going to the 1966 club, mate, because everyone's going to be.
I've got that. I've got the thing behind me, the frame with all my tickets in it from the season in the championship, or 2 seasons in the championship. People hate me saying it, but mate, I didn't mind the championship, mate. No. I had a lot of fun. We won a lot of games. We went to Cardiff twice in playoff finals. We had some really big days out. We took fans everywhere. It got rid of the touristy fans, which is brilliant when they don't come along. Mate, it's pure West Ham when you're in the championship. I've got no problem with it. I really haven't.
No, not at all. It's still the same journey, same day out, same people you're going to meet, and you win more. I've not really got an issue. Are there any signs that thing? Nope, nothing at all. It's going worse. It's going worse. It's worse and worse and worse, mate. And
Captain Marvel done another super chat, my man.
All right, let me have a look at that, Captain Marvelly. Let's pick you up. Where are you, lad? Smart owners must see the 10-month decline. Well, we weren't happy from semi-final defeat, and then we went back to the January window. We had a good go. Why didn't we have a good go then? We had a really bad finish to the season, mate, and you just get that sixth sense. I mean, me and Frankie follow football for a long time, and especially our club. We know our club. And we're not just saying it to just show off and do all that clickbait crap. We don't do none of that. We are very, very, what can I say? What's the word? We're very passionate about our club, and it does come out maybe a bit too much sometimes, but that's West Ham. We don't support Fulham or things like that. We've not been happy for a while, and the form suggests that. Stats show that, so that can back up our argument. And now we're kind of wasted the whole season. Looks like we're just not going to be hard to. I know things can change quickly. I can't see it. There's too many things wrong. And how can we quickly get up and try to match 6th, 7th? I'm not sure, mate. I'm not sure. I would entice someone like him, but you got to sell the plan, the whole project. You got to sell the club to the manager more than the other way around, especially if a person like him has been at bigger clubs than ours and things like that. Look, why did Mourinho, Conte went to Spurs? Because they saw the ground, they saw the training facilities, they saw some of the squad that's out there, big players. Danny Levy's a big character. You can probably talk shit really well, bit of money, and that's what you do, And I don't think we got anyone of considerable sort of personality at the club that we know. If Karen Brady, you've seen her on that Apprentice. Oh my God, she half talks shit. She has a go at the apprentices. She's far worse than them at doing her own job. What has she done at our club? No corporate sponsorship worthy of any note. No chance of getting any sponsorship for the ground, even though they're talking about Amazon. I don't know if you've heard that story, Frankie, that Amazon are interested in Spurs, and we're saying if you're offering them like whatever, we'll take 20, like 50% less than that, whatever, you can sponsor. We're not going to get a penny of that. It goes to the ground people, but yeah, we're not seeing none of that. JP Morgan, Citibank, no one from Canary Wharf goes to the ground. They don't even own one box, and you can see all the, they're around the corner. If you can't entice that, and again, not being bad, you know who sponsors the corporate sponsors. They're very, very small companies, very, very small. Some of them are quite local. It's not good enough, mate. I would go for Poch or someone like that because he's available, easy negotiations, but he's got to hear something from your side as well, That's what it's all about. Yeah,
it just isn't for Poch, mate. He's just got more ambition than West Ham. Unfortunately, we don't have that ambition, and I love the club so much. It hurts me to say it because I believe anyone should want to be around West Ham, because you see when people leave or have left in the past, like your Repkas or the when Noble left, they're crying on the pitch, mate, because it means so much to them, because we've got such a deep, I don't know, we're just steeped in history. The fans love players who give everything for West Ham United. It's a special, special club. It really is. But managers don't see that, mate. Managers see, where's my office? Where's my training ground? What have I got to drill my players? What have I got to work with? And unfortunately, like Mark Noble said in his recent interview, the facilities are nowhere near up to standard. Nowhere near. And that's a big problem. We will never attract the top talent and the top staff and managers all the time. We can't offer them anything, mate. It's just not good enough.
I got to watch that interview with Joe Cole, isn't it? About 20 minutes long. I got to watch that. Yeah, I want to have a look at that, really. So, captain, for us, yeah, you got to sell the idea because it's a risk for them. Don't forget, if they pick the wrong club, it's hard for them to get another job. So many managers, even you might think about, God, where the hell they've gone? You quickly fall out of favour and you never get back on the line again, So it's a very important decision for both. David Moyes, after this club, can't be another Premiership club for him. I can't see it. I don't know. But
you'll be surprised, mate. You'll be surprised. His stock's a lot higher than it used to be. It's a lot higher than it's been in the last 6 or 7 years, I would imagine, mate, because he's actually had a couple of good seasons. And so
I think it might be like someone who comes up and they're in danger of going down. Someone like a Forest or Fulham or someone like that, mate.
And somebody's just put in the chat, and I know it's further down and everything else, but Brendan Rodgers is doing worse than Moyes is. And I can't remember what the stats were the other day, but there was one win or loss in it between the two of them in the last however many games it was. Brendan Rodgers isn't doing hardly worse than David Moyes is. Moyes is certainly not pulling up, better performances than Rodgers. So, and Leicester have got a really easy run of games now. They've got a really, really easy run of games. So, I'm not so sure about that comment.
Yeah, I mean, players are quite clever, Eamon, at pretending that they're actually doing something, running, but they're not actually doing anything. What's your view on Souček? Apparently, he's the player who's had the most flack recently. I think the fans are going for him now, aren't they?
Well, I was backing him, mate, because I still felt like he was trying. I still felt like he was. We all know he's limited with his passing ability. We all know that we all know the limitations to his game. But even he stopped running. Even he's looking a little bit half a yard behind the pace or a yard behind the pace, if I'm honest, at times. He's game against Everton was so poor, even I can't defend him no more. But then everybody was, mate. And this is the whole point that we keep trying to get across, isn't it? That it's not about performances. It's not about new players. It's not about a new system. It's not about players bedding in. The minimum you expect at all times, is running. Running should be the minimum you expect. And Moyes, when he first come in, do you remember he always used to say it over and over again? If you don't run, you don't play. That's what he always used to say. That was what he always used to comment all the time. If you don't run, you don't play. Well, the problem is, if he didn't play the players that weren't running at the moment, he'd have to drop the whole starting 11 because none of them are running. None of them. So, it's really fallen away in terms of what Moyes' basics of football was, which is work hard, run, be committed, has totally vanished. And the only times I ever see the lack of running come into play is when the players stop believing in the manager. There's one thing that might be causing this, as opposed to Moyes losing the dressing room, and that is that he is trying to set up so rigid and to keep a shape constantly for 90 minutes that they don't run as much because they're not allowed to press. They're not allowed to move out of position. They're not allowed to overlap. They all have to stay in their banks and keep that shape and keep that positioning at all times. That could be the reasoning for the lack of sprints and running that we're seeing in the statistics. That could be the reason. But I look at their what's the word? The sort of I don't know, their mannerisms on the pitch at the moment, body language, and the body language don't look right to me.
I think, like you said, the players are shackled a bit, like at Spurs from the ground, where we're like, come on, go for them. You can do it. Don't see nothing, but they were just kept holding back. And we're like, what are you waiting for? They're gonna score. And with their finishers, I said they're gonna take one chance, bang, it's gonna be in the back of the net, Yeah. And Chelsea, oh my god, I can't believe how we lost that one. Oh wow, it's just like, and then like you said, 80 minutes, and he starts looking at the bench like, oh, what are you doing,
it's
mate?
It's almost like Cornet and Benrahma are sticking two fingers up to that when they play. It's almost like they go, sod that, we've got to try and make something happen. So then Benrahma cuts inside, does get in between the lines, hits that shot, hits the post, unlucky. Cornet comes on, makes things happen. It's almost like they come on the pitch, and because it's only 10 minutes, they go, Moyes, piss off, we're going to go and try and make something happen here. And they do get at teams. So, I think it is Moyes' style of play at the moment, where he's so scared of conceding a goal that he's making us a very, very boring side, and we keep coming unstuck, mate.
Which is surprising. We normally have that mindset when you're picking up a team at the bottom, but we've had two good seasons and should be more confident. And we've seen we can beat the top 4, top 5 on that we can, and we have done it. And why he sets up like that against
it's like, for me, he's lost Stuart Pearce, his comfort blanket, and he's panicked, and he's almost like, I don't know what to do now, and it's really gone to pot since Pearce hasn't been around, and it's like when you've been in a job with a team for so long and you lose one of your members of staff, and it can throw you, mate. It can throw you because as a team, when you're used to something being a certain way for so long, when that changes, it can throw things out. So I think Pearcey's but I knew it was coming. I said it right at the beginning of the season. Pearcey going will have a much bigger effect than people realise. And I think it's now coming to fruition, mate, that But I think Pearcey was pivotal to the last couple of seasons that we've had. And I think one, in terms of making players run and be determined. Can you imagine not running and Stuart Pearce in that dressing room or that training ground? Stuart Pearce, you'd never want to go. But would you be that scared of David Moyes? All Moyes he has a go at is the blooming reporters and people like that. That's all he's brave enough to have a go at. But you would never have wanted to go in that dressing room or the training ground with Pearcey there and you haven't run your nuts off, because Pearcey wouldn't have had it, mate. So, yeah, I think he's a big loss, mate. I really do.
I think,
but again, when I said it, everyone thought I was crazy, didn't they? At the end of the season, everyone was like, what's he talking about? Oh, that's all right. Don't worry about Stuart Pearce. But I think it's had a big effect, mate.
I think it's just, like you said, it's just bored of the same message. And sometimes a good number two, number one, they're player for each other. Like, I think Brian Clough struggled when Peter Taylor left. They didn't realise how much they do for each other and things like that. You never know who's doing most of the work in the background. Mickey, Thomas Frank, he's doing all right. Yeah, he's doing all right, mate. Again, when they do it at one club, Mickey, always I don't know what to think. But yeah, he's all right. I think he's all right. Rogers, yep, not popular. Brenda's not popular, really. Let's see what the latest comments are coming through. Pochin. Roy Keane, nah, he's a bit of a nutcase anyway. But what it was, Vinay, what it was, he's been snapping at press conferences for a while. I think you saw him throwing things around after Brighton and Eintracht Frankfurt second leg, and he's only got himself to blame. You know, he's just getting frustrated and doesn't really look like a manager who's brought 8-9 new players in. There's no enthusiasm, there's no happiness. He's miserable, and you don't really want to go into work each morning facing that kind of environment. You just need someone a bit more bubbly on the pitch. You can say what you want with Harry, but you must have, if you're a player, you must have a bundle of laugh with Harry, wind around him up and done all kinds of things with him. I remember the players once threw a whole bucket of water. I think it's the Tottenham players, I think. But Harry, yeah, he has done a lot of naughty things, West Ham. But Harry's one of those, you can have a laugh with him, can't you? I think he's one of those. But I think Moyes is a bit serious, isn't he?
Yeah, I don't know what he is, mate, because he don't come across like the sort of person who would inspire you. He don't come across like the sort of person that would scare you. Moyes is passive aggressive, isn't he? Like we've seen now what he done to Krul. He bullies people mentally. He's passive aggressive, unless it's some little reporter who can't have any say, and then Moyes, he grows a pair and all of a sudden becomes a big bully. So, you know, I'm not sure what Moyes has about him, to be honest. I don't think he's inspirational. I don't think he talks particularly well. I don't think he's influential. I don't think he's got motivational skills. He clearly hasn't got man management skills. I'm not really sure what he does have, if I'm totally honest, other than utter loyalty to certain people around him that he believes are good for him. Other than that, I don't see what he's got.
I think, yeah, if a club wants to go a little bit higher than 7th, 6th, play slightly, then he's like, that's not his level. He's stuck then. But solid, okay, mid-table, okay. He might manage that. Yeah.
You start losing a semi-final, he starts kicking things at ball boys, little kids. That's what he's got about him. As soon as the going gets tough, he starts bullying people that he can. And I just think, kicking out at ball boys, kicking off against reporters in interviews and all that. I look at it and I just think you're an idiot, mate. I can't have it around me. Can you imagine people like we've said before, like John Larwin, that behaving like that? Like, that ain't what we're about. West Ham ain't about that. And I'll tell you one thing, mate. I've said this to people as well, how distant we were getting from the team. And Moyes is influential in that. He doesn't want you anywhere near him at player awards. He doesn't want to come in up to you at the end of the game. He is very, very anti sort of fans and team and integration and stuff like that. I've never felt more distant from my football club. I don't know. For me, there's so many things that frustrate me, Moyes, but I've bit my tongue with it because I think, we had a couple of better seasons, so that's fine. I didn't really like the football. I wasn't really enjoying watching the football, but we was getting results, and that was fine. But now the results have dried up. I feel like, you know, all these things need to be said because they've all been bubbling there under the surface, and now they're all coming out to dry, mate. So
hope you're well, Ken Hammers, you nutter. Hope you're well, mate. And let me know how you're feeling at the moment, because I know rightly so. I mean, not rightly so, but understandably you want to keep David Moyes, or maybe you've changed now. Let us know. So, Frankie, I'm assuming you've been to a Players' Awards night when David Moyes hasn't been a manager, and you can compare maybe or not?
Oh, yeah, absolutely, mate. I went to one with Pellegrini, which was at the Intercontinental, and that was very different. There was still a little bit of separation, but certainly nowhere near as much as there was this time round. It is very, very segregated right now. I sat at the front row on the last game of the season against Man City, next to their dugout, next to it. There's kids there with pens, with programs, not a single person. Not only did they not sign something, sometimes I understand not signing things because you can't sign something for everybody. So if you can't sign them all, don't sign one. I get that. They didn't even say hello, didn't walk over to them, didn't interact with them, nothing at all. It is very, very cold, and I don't know, mate. It's it's just all a bit strange.
Tommy, I agree. His press conferences are a joke, mate. You know, he pretends he's upset or he's surprised at what's gone on. I'm like, come off him, mate. What are you surprised about? And yeah, he is beginning to single out some players and things that he never used to, mate. Yeah, Harry Hayding said, yeah, you're right, mate. Harry, wheeler dealer Harry, innit? Nutcase, mate. Nutcase. Yeah, apparently, yeah, not very good how some players have been treated, mate. It's not nice like that.
And you start to think, don't you? You've got them comments that are coming out. Youth players who won Hammer of the Year, youth players who are playing really well, start to want to go out the door and actively push him for moves. You do start to think, what's going on there? Do you know what I mean? What's happening behind the scenes? Because there's a few things that ain't right, mate.
Yeah, the news that broke last night and this morning, mate, is that due to Club Insider, there's absolutely not even 1% fault in the board's minds to even review the position or worry or set targets or anything, mate. So I don't know. Looks like, we're not even looking to replace him or even worried about anything at the moment, mate. So yeah, that is the news. Mickey.
Yeah, it's true. But I think the point is, the new manager would have his own staff. I just think Moyes isn't the same without those staff. That's the point that I make. I think Moyes wasn't any good without Pearce and, you know, the other people around him. And now they've all started to disappear. He's struggling again. So for me, that's not a coincidence. That's just clear as day. You know, he comes in, he's not very good. He recruits, brings in people around him. We start to play well again. The coaching staff disappear. Moyes is back to his old self. That's just not a coincidence for me.
Again, Victor, it's my ignorance of following other clubs. Mentioning this guy, is he gone now? Has he been released by Bayern? Why do we keep mentioning this guy?
No, I don't think he has yet. Bayern has said pretty much the same thing, that they back him and he's planning.
Oh, so we're preparing for him to go and then grab him, are we?
Yeah.
Okay. This is funny, isn't it? Super.
But Niall Guzman is the one that all Man United fans wanted, really. He is the one that everyone at Man United, if Man United could have picked a manager, that was the one that they really wanted.
Dan, how you doing, my man? You're right. It's silly, yeah. Moisey, yeah, he's not in a good place at the moment, mate. Imagine at home with his missus when, something's a bit cold at the oven, he's gonna go nuts, and he have to play across the lounge. I don't know. Oh, good for you, lad. Yeah, Kent's one of those. Yeah, goes to all the way, don't you, mate? And home. Good lad. Okay, next 3 games. Kent, tell me also, what do you want from the next 3 games in the chat, mate? What are you looking at to keep him, yeah? Let me know. It'd be interesting. Because I've got a feeling it could be the next 2, Frankie. I mean, I'm adamant his time's over for me. It's over, right? But these next 2, he could win one, lose one. What the hell does that mean then? Yeah. I don't know. Rafa Benitez, nah, he's old. He's won everything. He's no motivation there, mate, and only money. Yeah, he's not hungry. You need hungry.
Awful style of football.
Fat waiter, fat Spanish waiter. Hadn't realised. Yeah, he's under pressure. Under pressure. It is, isn't it? It is. My highlight of going to the matches is just messing about before the game, half time, and then I'm home. But usually what you hear, Epic, is that there has been a target, that they're looking. Rumours are very hard to keep down these days, and you do hear things that managers are being tapped up, spoken to, things like that, really, mate. So again, I'm guessing Frankie might know a bit better than me. Buying, they play good football, mate, under him. It's all good.
Yeah, I mean, he's renowned for managing youngsters. He was the RB Leipzig manager before that? Part of that project, or was one of them. So yeah, he's used to developing youngsters. Yeah, Leipzig. He was the Leipzig manager. So yeah, when we talk about the Red Bull model, if there's one man you want to do that, it's that guy.
Tillemans is available on a free, not free, but you can speak to him in January. We're not going to get near him. Arsenal are going to grab him or someone else, mate, aren't we? I don't know. He's available though. Yeah. Okay, Captain Marvel's back in. Smart owners must see the 10. Oh, we did that bit. Let me see. Costa scoring. Yeah, we'll see if he's fit, mate. Yeah, I don't know, but he looked okay. They're happy to see him. I like him even for a year, but we'll see what happens. But yeah, he's going to get involved, raft a few people up. But he's one of those. If he's on your team, you love him, mate. Basically,
yeah, mate. This Niall Guzman. I was just having a look at his sort of profile. We've got zero chance of ever getting someone like him, mate. He's on another planet to West Ham. That geezer.
But sometimes it's about timing. If they want to come back in, there's only a certain amount of clubs that have got an open vacancy. But it is all to do with your own club's ambition and what you've bought. And very, very early days yet. But yeah, those signings, and I don't know what to make of them now. Emerson and Paqueta and Scamacca I like. But then if you're not going to give him a good run of games or not coach him the proper way, well, I don't know, mate. But I don't think Scamacca's a bad player, what I've seen. He's all right. Cornet's all right. Paqueta, I haven't seen anything. And by that, I mean just getting involved. Like, I can't even say he's misplaced that pass or he bodged that.
But he did. He made a lot of misplaced passes against.
Did he? Oh, okay,
yeah, there was a big article that was put out afterwards about the amount of. Or since he started playing for us, he has one misplaced pass in 4 or something like that, which they said was really poor. I don't know. So, but I'm not blaming him at the moment. I'm blaming the Paqueta thing on how we're using him. To be perfectly honest, I think we're using him all wrong.
Hope you're all right. Hey. I don't think anyone's got an issue anymore with links like that. It's got for you. I mean, it's like, would you mind signing a player from Tottenham, Chelsea, mate? It doesn't matter now, does it?
No, but the one we're more likely to get ex-Tottenham is, and I've said it, and I think is someone we're probably far more likely to get is Villas-Boas. I just think I think you look at who's available. I just think he is. If Moyes goes, he looks like he's writing on the wall, mate. I could really see him coming in. I really could.
He's done well, and to hear that he's still around and played good football. He's learnt a lot, but yeah, I remember he's at Chelsea and all sorts, wasn't he, mate?
Yeah, I really could see him coming in, mate. He's got one of the highest average points per game records out of managers that are out there and available at the moment, and I just think he's the sort of man who would take the job. I think he would. And he's also had time in Marseille. He probably knows the French language quite well. We've got a bit of a French backbone at the moment of players who have played in France and so on. So, yeah, I could see him coming in, mate. I could.
Right, we're going to wrap up next couple of minutes. I'm going to quickly go through. Is he a rally driver? Billabahoo? No. But I haven't followed him, but obviously we do know of him. And
he said he wanted an international. He wanted to manage an international team at the World Cup, is what he said, which that hasn't looked like that's going ahead. So, yeah.
I think, Tim, we did have a look at the formations Paqueta played in, and it's not that different. It might be 4-3-3. It's not that different. Football's usually 4-4-2, 4-2-3, 4. That's about it. And it shouldn't make too much of a difference. But what can make a difference, like we're saying, is instructions from the manager, your playing style, and you don't sign Paqueta, Cornet, Scamacca, and then you just try to hold on for 0-0 for 80 minutes. That doesn't really help anyone, mate. and then you want everyone to just keep going back and tackling and don't go over the halfway line and all that kind of stuff, isn't it? Yeah, we've got to see a bit more of them, really. But we're going to close it down. Would I take Rafa? No. Kent, 4-4-2 diamond. Yeah, we've got to do something different, mate. We've got to do something different. But for me, it's writings on the wall, mate. I'm just watching and seeing how long this crazy thing carries on, mate. And the next big issue will be when you're more than 3 points behind a team fourth from bottom. That's when it's going to get a bit difficult. Any idea why the League Cup game is so many weeks into the future? It's nowhere near yet, the Blackburn tie. Yeah,
no, it's a weird one, mate, isn't it? It's a weird one.
It's in November. Your favourite striker, or one of the ones we spoke about, still at Blackburn. He never went in the end, did he?
No, he didn't, mate. No, he didn't. No.
So we'll see what happens with that,
very
mate.
Surprised. Very, very surprised.
I would have sacked him. Well, I couldn't yesterday. It's a respectful day yesterday. You can't do it that. I would have sacked him this morning. Yeah, I'd get rid of him. And I would have had discussions with Poch for the past 2-3 weeks, mate. Tapped him up, had a few words with him. I mean, you can never go at Spurs. But the last 2 sackings they've done, the new managers come in within 24 hours. So that's how they do their things. Yeah, I know. Right, that's it from us. Just going to predict what I think's going to happen. Mate. I think he's going to go, but it's going to drag on for, like we did with Pellegrini. He's going to drag. He is going to drag on for another 4 or 5 games. I don't agree with it. He is definitely going to go, but it's going to drag on for 5 games for me, mate. And it's too late for me. Not completely too late for anybody. It's very difficult for the new person to come in and, bring us up slowly. But then the season's, written the whole season off nearly, and then playing catch up. What about you, mate? What's your prediction of David Moyes next couple of weeks and months?
The chat was quite correct there a second ago. Derek said the history of our management suggests that Moyes will be given till Christmas no matter what. That is normally what we do. We do normally leave it late to make the change, which is always very risky. I don't think we'll be that patient this time. I think there's more money involved, and I think there's new influences in and around the club who won't tolerate that. So because of that, I actually think he's probably got until the Southampton game, because after that it's then Liverpool. I think out of the Wolves, Fulham and Southampton games, I think he needs 2 wins out of that lot. And in between that, we've got 2 games against Anderlecht. I don't even think they'll play a part. I think you can ignore what happens in those Anderlecht games. I don't think the board are necessarily going to be that interested in the Conference League anymore. It's all about our league form now. And I think they'll be telling him that. I think they'll be saying to him now, when you come back from this, international break, the league is the priority. And don't worry about, your Conference League games. Let's just try and get some points on the board in the Premier League. Yeah, I think he'll have until the Southampton game, and he'll be given a target of maybe 6 points and see if he can achieve it. And it's not going to be easy, mate, because Wolves at home, he should get a win there, but Fulham's going to be tough. We never really like going away to Southampton. We always seem poorly there. So, and then Liverpool straight after that. So, yeah, it's going to be tough, mate. He's got a lot to do. Can Moyes turn it around in those 4 games, mate? I really don't think so.
And to sum up, we can't score. I think there's 3 goals all season, and we are very open at the back, which perhaps David in the past was good at. Very open at the back. You ping a cross in, no one's picking no one up. You could score by chance, or so it's all over the place.
Remember what Stuart Pearce's position was, though, mate, when he played football. We looked solid at the back when Pearcey was around. Now Pearcey's gone. It's all wide open, and help yourselves time. So.
That's it, mate. But yeah, thank you everyone in the chat. Loads of you joined in because it is a very big topic for us in our hearts at the moment, and we'll monitor it next couple of days. And yeah, have a great evening and what's left of the afternoon, Frankie. We'll catch up next couple of days, or if there's any breaking news, we'll see. It is that kind of we are watching. We're looking at news every hour now, and seeing if we're going to hear anything, but we'll see. Definitely.
Right,
take care. Bye.
Okay.